Would you like to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Speakeasy and master connector Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on this planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another spectacular episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond, and today on Thrive Loud, I have the great fortune to have the co-founder and president of Valor Craft Performance. Thrive Loud listeners, I bring you Albie Masland. Albie, welcome to Thrive Loud.
Thank you, Lou. I'm very appreciative to be here. I'm looking forward to our conversation. Thanks for making time.
Yeah, no, of course, and great to have you here. We're going to do a little rewind. I'm going to kind of understand a little bit. I don't want to go all the way to the womb, Albie. I want to go back and understand exactly how the stuff that you're doing now became your gig and how this all came to be, because I think our listeners want to be educated and learn a little bit of a path that got us to where you are.
I'll start right out by saying that very few things I've done in life have been linear, and this is certainly no exception. I, for the better part of my professional career, worked with veterans in transition, surviving family members, doing community activation, service work for an incredible organization called the Travis Manion Foundation. And one of my very early bosses at the Travis Manion Foundation is now my current business partner. But over about 9 years of working with veterans and talking to them a lot about what makes them thrive as a process for their transition, I found myself in that kind of classic COVID hit pandemic sort of reevaluation of life and started considering some other opportunities. And I ended up joining an advanced textile startup that had very cool technology and had an opportunity to build out a government sales channel. But as startups go, sort of at the 1 year mark, they said, look, we're not looking to take this down the government path. And so after a very secure 9 years, an exciting jump into the startup world for 1 year, I then found myself sort of sitting and saying, well, what am I going to do next? And initially I decided I was going to build a book of business doing Albie things, building relationships, finding commonalities, returning mutual benefit, and called a couple different people. And the third person I called was, and at the recommendation of my wife, credit when credit is due, called my current business partner, James. And I said, look, how about I do some business development for you? He had been in the process over about 6-7 years of building a portfolio in the cannabis space, with medical licenses in Michigan, medical licenses in Delaware, hemp company as well. And I thought it would be a very interesting field, both personally and professionally, to get involved with, but pitched him on the idea of business development. And he flipped back, I want you to run a company that I've built. We just recently got rid of the person that we had sort of, gotten to this point with, the 1 year mark with, and it wasn't the right fit. But I think you're the right fit. And if you want ownership, I'll give you ownership. And if you want me to mentor you and guide you and careen you back on path when, you start to stray, like, I'm here as a mentor, I'm here as a friend, I'm here as a partner, talk that over, think that over, meditate on that and get back to me. And I did all of those steps. And the answer was, yes, I want to take over this company. And that's sort of what led me to the 1.0 version of the company, which I've now been running for 1.5 years.
Very cool. For those who are not familiar with what Valor Craft Performance is, and by the way, I want to ask that question. We'll get there in a minute, what Valor Craft means. Obviously, you are putting hybrid plant products together for wellness purposes, for healing, sleep and relaxation, energy and focus, joints performance. You even have oils for pets, which every now and then, as I'm looking at my dog down here, I can totally get what it is. And we've had lots of cannabis related folks, from investor folks and, people do research. Like it is absolutely becoming much more accepted and into the mainstream where things are. Let's talk about the soul and purpose of what this business is about and how it helps people. How effective have Valor Craft Performance products been since you've been there?
So the first thing I did was the company as it sat had multiple different CBD tinctures. And I said, I don't want to run a CBD company. I believe when it is in its purest high quality form, it is a very effective, beneficial additive ingredient. And that is how we are going to view it. And, with that being said, there are 100+ other cannabinoids that can be found. And as research advances and our understanding evolves, we come to see that these other cannabinoids also have very specific tailored applications when used in functional dosage. And so I'm very interested in exploring all of those. But hey, I'm also very interested in functional mushrooms. I'm also very interested in other natural extracts. And so I said, look, we're going to go about this with sort of a hybrid approach. We're going to take cannabinoids, we're going to take functional mushrooms, we're going to pair them together. We'll bolster them with other natural extracts, and we will give you products that are designed to help you do more with your day, do more with your night, do more with your life.
Right.
So, that's been a year and a half, really like home renovation process. I was knocking down walls, I think often of Chip and JoJo from Fixer Upper in my process. And, that's really been the reality of what the first 9-10 months of running this company consisted of. It was a full renovation. We kept 2 core products because we had pathways by which we could sell them. We kept the pet product because we have access in the pet markets. We kept the topical cream because we have access into pain and chiropractic health centers. But we also kept them because it's our very best, most pure form oil, single source from Colombia. And the topical cream is very effective. And people will tell us exactly that, whether it's, my wife using it for sciatica or a friend using it for lower back pain, myself using the cream for my knees, ankles, joints in general, in all of the endurance running that I do. Those are sort of early win, qualitative successes as you count over time. But really the 2 new products that we spent a good bit of that time sort of as we're renovating, we're also developing are the daily and nightly gummies that we have. Launch, which is a daytime gummy that has apple cider vinegar, beetroot, B12, lion's mane, and CBD. And then Landing that has CBD, CBN, which is another minor cannabinoid. It's a tough one to say sometimes. I'll get through it though, as well as skullcap extract, melatonin. And so those are sort of the new products that we've developed, and they've been really well received. And yeah, we get nice little reviews as we grow. We're building up that database of people who are really happy with what we've created.
Launch and Landing. I like it, by the way. Gets you up in the day.
Thank you. Get ready for another L. We're coming out with a drink here in 2 months.
Okay. Valor Craft. What's that about?
Valor Craft was so we had 2 brands in the company. We are Marine veteran founded.
Oh, okay. I see the logo.
So that sort of origin. Yeah. That origin comes sort of from my partner's background, but also just the act of being valorous is something that I can appreciate. The act of crafting something as opposed to mass producing something. Look, we're in an industry unlike any other. Like if you don't have valor, then you don't have any business being here.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to be thoughtful in the way that you create products to help others, to make others well, to help them do more, then that's not a business I want to run. That's not products that I'm looking to create. But it also, just for some context, it's our THC brand as well. And so we wanted to have synergy.
So from running these type of businesses, when I ask this question, look, running any product is challenging. Marketing, costs, packaging, you're always figuring out ways to get the product into customers' hands, regulations, laws, who you can go after, places that might be limiting and all that stuff. Every day you have a lot of challenges to face. I want to ask the question, Albie, is there one challenge that is the one that keeps you up at night right now? What's the one thing that's like the little stress that's the headache or the thing that you got to deal with, but it's just part of the job? What's that one that you have going on each day?
I think it's just a matter of getting more eyes, more ears, and then depending on the product, more mouths to try our offerings. We have really effective products that people really enjoy. And as we grow and build, we're seeing the incremental growth on the sales side. We're adding business to business accounts actively. We just want thousands more people to be aware that we exist. And to your point, you can't really advertise in traditional methods when you're in the cannabis space, because there are a lot of different community guidelines and compliance issues that have to be considered. And, some of it is, how much of my time and effort is best spent trying to find a creative workaround to do this versus finding a pathway like this, working with the group at People Building, connecting with individuals like yourself who have large megaphone access to, people that we want to be able to share our story with, sort of weighing those different things as a method for growth. And, I'm confident that we've taken the right path. But I think if I'm sitting up at night, the thing that I'm wondering is, man, if we could just multiply the number of people that come to the website or know that we exist by, 100, 1,000, 1,000,000, that would be awesome. How do we do that?
You go on more great podcasts like Thrive Loud is what you have to do.
That's the secret sauce.
Okay. So I've got a good question here. Speaking of sauces and mixes, I looked at the history of the way there's some crazy irony that goes on, when new mediums have come out, who have been the forefront of the advertisers and the marketers, and soap operas, going way back to those dramas when they were on the radio and on television, were literally sponsored by Procter and Gamble programs and stuff like that, hence the term soap. And one of the biggest advertisers, as you know, ironically, during the 50s and 60s were cigarettes, a very healthy product, and Geritol, which I always joke about, because Geritol was probably the first one out there that was, at the time, it was an experimental product that, that was basically a vitamin type substance or whatever it was, and certainly wasn't as naturally made as a lot of the products today. Okay, fast forward 60, 70 years later, in a more modern era with many more different ways to promote and go with products. Isn't there some crazy irony that the stuff that has slowly become legal, more whether recreationally or medicinally, in many, many more states, and it's becoming a much bigger portion because every state wants to get their little tax revenue where they can? Isn't it ironic that there's still challenges on marketing these products today? From your perspective, I mean, when you think about the workarounds that you have to deal with, even in the language of your products, isn't it ridiculous?
It's confounding, and it also, I think, for me and for my marketing team, which is myself, my marketing manager, and then my social media manager is my little sister. We're creative, we're goofy, we love to have fun. We've got my business partner James, who comes from the veteran adapt and overcome mindset. Like, that's the way that we treat it. We have had to navigate around all of these sort of hurdles throughout the course of time, switching over payment processors, switching over website platforms, building a landing page where content is hosted to bifurcate that from a shop page. But we've done it all, and it's actually been really rewarding in a sense. It's maybe sometimes frustrating, and you wish that it could just be, a seamless, just like any other industry kind of process. But you also have to step back and say, well, I'm grateful that I'm in this industry, because I do think we have a really cool opportunity. And, it's at the same time, you'll hear people say, well, why don't you just do this? And it's like, well, how much time do you have? I can happily explain the reasons why. So yeah, it's frustrating, but I think we take it in stride.
Running a company, running a business, running a business in an emerging space is impressive onto itself. And obviously, you're creating a product that's trying to help people in any way you look at it. That's really what you're about. And animals, let's not leave them out. And in so doing, you wear a lot of hats. Obviously, you've got the marketing role. You explained your product development, dealing with the cost structures, running the business. There's a lot of hats that most people don't understand what an entrepreneur has unless they've actually done it. Is there a hat that you love putting on more than others each morning when you get on? What's the hat of choice that you say, this is the role I'd love to do today?
Honestly, this is a hat.
Marketing it,
being able to get out and share and have conversations and connect with people who are passionate about other people being passionate about living the life that is available to them if they choose to seek it. That is what I have been living professionally, step by step, for the better part of my adult life. That pursuit of things that I'm passionate about, that pursuit of something that gets me excited every single day. And really just, that's the hat that I want. That's the hat that I feel most comfortable in, is just sharing with passion what it is that I'm building. The immediate flip side of that would be any hat that requires me to go into spreadsheets and do,
busy
nitty gritty kind of. Yeah. I've gotten better at it, but it's not my most natural.
No. I love asking entrepreneurs this question, so I want to see where this goes. You've been thriving even in just accepting this job not too long ago, a little, more than 2 years ago, and doing this role that you're in. And in so doing, getting the messaging, putting everything together to run this company, which is why you're here on Thrive Loud. And we all have those days when we're not quite kicking on all cylinders and we're a little off our game. When you, Albie, have trouble thriving, what practice do you seek, or what individual do you seek out to get yourself back on the thriving track?
I go for a run.
Now you run a lot, right? You're not just running. You're doing more than just a run. I have an understanding, right?
Sure, but I understand what the run medicine is for the situation. I certainly, I spent a decade talking to veterans about what makes them thrive. We've talked about positive psychology and the PERMA model, whether you're engaging in positive relationships, things that engage you, a sense of meaning, a sense of achievement, a sense of vitality. Those are those core sort of markers that you can look at in your life and say, well, when I step back, I don't see myself hitting these areas appropriately, or I see an absence. And so that's a flag for me to alert myself, something to pay more attention to. And in that time of working with those in transition, our service members, you build out this toolkit. You build out these little exercises, whether that is daily gratitude, whether that is breath work, for which I just recently became certified in, all that aside, my most immediate reaction is just go for a run. And maybe it's a 1 mile problem. Maybe it's a run across the country problem. I have experience with everything there and in between.
Gotcha. Unlike many of the television networks or radio stations that pause limitations, here on the Thrive Loud network, you get a chance to plug everything that goes on at Valor Craft Performance, no matter what, with no restrictions whatsoever. So that's what I want to do right now. Albie, give the listeners a chance to understand where they can learn about you, where they can go to websites, social media. We will put it all in the show notes, but it gets more engagement when they hear it from you.
Absolutely. I'll keep it very short and simple. You can go to buyvcp.com. That's buyvcp.com. That is our shop page. And that is where you'll find access to all of our product. And that also connects you into our homepage, which will give you all of the access to our blogs. We're regularly trying to do more than just create products and really provide educational content. So that's an important aspect as well. And we really use Instagram first and foremost. You can find us at Valor Craft Performance if you are looking to follow us and track along with what we're building as a community, as a mindset, and the products that we're creating to fuel those who are a part of that.
Albie, you ready to go down Fun Street with me here?
I love Fun Street, Lou.
Okay. Let's start off with your double feature, if you would. Can you share two movies that are two of your all-time favorite movies that if you had a chance, you can rewatch it again or just love to see?
Dumb and Dumber, for sure. One of the most classic core memories I have of leaving the theater just in stitches still. That is one of my all-time favorites. And as far as like a more like classic, not straight comedy, Forrest Gump. That's just, I feel like it has a little bit of everything that goes into an equation or a recipe to create something great.
There are a lot of movies that have good movie soundtracks, but it is really hard to compare to Forrest Gump, considering that it does a chronological run from the 60s, 70s, and 80s of just some of the best rock and roll you could ever get. So big fan of that soundtrack and that movie. It's like that's an impossible movie. Anytime it's on, you're in. It like wait, we can get through Vietnam here. He's fishing, he's shrimping.
You're right about that. It's kind of like the series that you don't need to worry about having watched consecutively. You can just jump right in, yes. And you know you're going to find those lovable moments, those characters you appreciate, and it's great like that for sure. It's a leave it on if you find it on TV movie.
As for Dumb and Dumber, what I could tell you is that I had no idea how funny the actor, not Jeff Bridges.
Daniels.
Daniels, thank you. Jeff Daniels was, thank you. Jeff Bridges is funny, but not as funny as Jeff Daniels. I think we all knew how funny Jim Carrey was, but what he did, I mean, that whole line, just when I think, you couldn't be any dumber, you pull a move like this to do something completely great. I mean, it's just incredible. Just so good, and they're so funny, and I mean, I can't even imagine what it was like to be on that set, and not just lose it every 2 minutes, but fun.
I think that's always with any comedy, which is far and away my favorite genre. You love to see some of the bloopers and the outtakes where it's revealed to you that they actually did have to work at this because it was that difficult to not laugh.
Yeah.
A talent in itself.
And just specifically with the level of stupidity that goes on in that movie. So it's just great. All right, we're going to do the speed round here, Albie. Here's how we worked. I'm going to ask you something. First thing that comes to your mind. These are things that lift you up, motivate you, make you feel good. Basically, they make you thrive. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. Of late, a song that you love to listen to or one that's kind of like your jam.
It's called Broke Down, Parts 1 and 2 by the California Honey Drops. And if you are on a journey, it is a song for you. Very uplifting, great band, favorite song.
I'm going to go check that out. If you're on a journey, I like that. The Honey Drops. Is that how the Honey Drops? All right. I'm going to educate myself on this.
Yeah, the California Honey Drops.
I'm a big fan.
They're
already.
Awesome.
With a name like that, how can they not be? A favorite food that is not a dessert.
Cheesesteaks.
Bold answer. I wasn't thinking. I was thinking you were going to go a little healthier there, but my goodness, good call. All right.
You can make a cheesesteak healthy.
I'm going to double click there. How do you have your cheesesteaks? What's your order?
I mean, my favorite cheesesteak, and I've tried them everywhere. Still, I'll give a shout out to Massino's back in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, my hometown. Okay. But I like the meat to be chopped up, and it has to be on a good Italian roll. But from there, don't overcomplicate it. I like peppers and onions. I usually like hot peppers and onions, actually, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I just love cheesesteaks. That's core to my human being.
I'm a cheese whiz and onions guy. There you go. That's it. It's simple as that.
And that's fine.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you want to just put ketchup on it, go for it. You know, like whatever you need. I don't control others' preferences when it comes to a cheesesteak, and I'm not here to judge.
I have one of my favorite stories. Some little kid was at a store and they were buying Cheese Whiz, and I saw the Cheese Whiz, and I'm only thinking about cheesesteaks when I see it. And the little kid asked a great question. He's like, "Mom, how did they get the cows inside the Cheese Whiz can?" And I said, and she goes, "Well, I heard cheese comes from cows, and that's all you need to know." Okay, a favorite dessert?
Coffee ice cream.
An activity you wish you did more of?
Yoga.
An activity you wish you did less of?
I don't know. I'm pretty happy with the activities I
Hold
have
on.
in my life. I can't think.
Let's
say this. Eating after 9.
That's a good one. Very good. A new activity to you, one that's relatively new that you've recently tried, that you like so much that you want to tell everybody else to try.
Breath work. 100%. I just went through a certification to become a breathwork coach through a group called XPT. And it is a wild thing when you start moving and working in different cadences and you actually feel your body come alive and vibrate in a way that you haven't ever been familiar. It's such a simple thing, but when you really start putting it into work, you can see and feel the benefits. And so that's one of the things that I'm really looking to share and do more of.
If I could snap my fingers and Albie Masland can be anywhere in the world, where is he?
Oh man. We'll just say San Diego.
It's a great place. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's one of the best cities in the world.
We'll say Little Italy in San Diego. That's where we lived for about 7 years.
Awesome. Albie Masland, everybody check it out. BUYVCP. That's Valor Craft Performance. Everybody check all the products out and the links and the social media stuff that we're going to put on there. Hey man, thanks for coming on the program today. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And one last thing I would say is we have a special code, Thrive Loud 15, for anybody who's listening to go out and give our products a shot. We appreciate the opportunity to help you do more. So Lou, thank you. And certainly thank you to anybody listening.
You got it. Everyone know that. Thrive Loud 15. Go check it out. Use that code. Hopefully that'll get you some products you need. Great to have you on, my friend.
Thank you,
all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.